Retreat to You is pretty enjoyable. It's a little slow. I didn't love some of the pacing. I think certain things happened too quickly, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But in general, I'm happy to recommend this film. This is a Hallmark film from 2023. It's directed by Terry Ingram and it's written by Erin Fischer and Hayley Frazier. And we have a cast including Emilie Ullerup as Abby and Peter Mooney as Sean. And Abby goes to a retreat with her friend, and while she's there, she happens to bump into Sean, who used to be an old flame, but things didn't end on the best of notes. And we find out a little bit about this. But then they end up having to spend time together because they're off on this hike, and the pair of them get separated from the group, and they don't really think it's a big deal. It starts to get a little bit dark. They're about to go home, and they realise they don't know the way. So they have to work together to get back safely. And obviously, as they spend time together, they start to talk. They talk about the past, and they open their hearts up to each other. And I won't say any more about what happens with their relationship or lack thereof. But what I don't think worked very well was the main narrative, which sounds stupid because it's not a terrible film. It does work well enough to be watchable, but they get lost together quite early on, which in itself is not a bad thing, but that's basically the rest of the film. The pair of them trying to work together, and then we cut back to the other people at the retreat, first of all realising that they're missing, and then obviously trying to work out how to find them, and it just felt really slow. The actual events that happened from that point, for me at least, were not that interesting. And I would have liked it if we got to spend a little bit more time having some of the activities at the retreat, Abby and Sean maybe having to work together in situations and not getting along very well, and building up the characters together a little bit more and enjoying more aspects of the retreat for a larger chunk of the film. And then towards the end, or at least a little more towards the end, having them getting lost and having to work together. If they'd maybe shortened that part of it, it might not have felt so slow, and those scenes might not have been as dull because they wouldn't have felt like they were just dragging on, and that would have given us a bit more time to get to know the characters independently before we had to get to know them while they were trying to work together. So I don't think the pacing is amazing, and I realise I'm basically saying that the main narrative is not very good. But that being said, I still enjoyed it. I didn't love it. It's not perfect, but it still worked well enough that I didn't mind it. It's still a pretty decent experience. The characters are well written, likeable, the performances are good, the scenery is absolutely stunning. And according to IMDb, this is filmed in Alberta, in Canada. A lot of Hallmark films are filmed in Canada. Just a lot of films in general are filmed in Canada. And the retreat is the Zurich Estate Hotel. I hope I'm not pronouncing that incorrectly, which is quite interesting to learn, I guess. So the environment's great, the characters are great, the performances are absolutely fine. The only issue is how they handled the main narrative. I don't think the pacing was right. I don't think the action or lack thereof was that interesting. There are definitely ways they could have improved this to make it a more enjoyable experience. But all of that being said, I'm still happy to recommend it. Not perfect, wouldn't watch it again, but as a one-time watch, whether you're a fan of Hallmark films in general or the narrative just sounds like something that might appeal to you, then I guess I'm happy enough to recommend Retreat to You.